All right, we're about to dive into a concept that might just change how you see, well, pretty much everything. It's an idea philosophers have been fascinated by for centuries, and it's called emptiness. So let's just start with a question. Think about the chair you're sitting on, or the screen you're looking at. Heck, even your own sense of who you are. What if I told you none of it has a fixed, permanent reality? What if it's all kind of empty? Now, I know that sounds pretty wild, but there's a really simple analogy that can make it all just click. I call it the Lego plane principle. Here's the core idea. Nothing exists all by itself. Everything you see and experience is just a temporary arrangement of different pieces and circumstances coming together, just like a model made from Lego bricks. Think about it this way. To build a Lego plane, you need the main cause, the bricks themselves. But a pile of bricks isn't a plane, is it? You also need the right conditions. You need the instruction manual, your hands to actually build it, and the time to put it all together. It's only when the cause and the conditions come together that you get the result, something we all agree to call a plane. But really, it's just a fleeting, temporary assembly. So that brings up the real kicker of a question. Where is the actual unchanging plane in that pile of plastic? It's nowhere. It doesn't have its own separate existence. Take away the bricks, and poof, the plane is gone. Use those exact same bricks with a different set of instructions, and now suddenly it's a castle. The plane is just a label we stick on a temporary setup. Okay, so this is the part where most people get tripped up. You hear the word emptiness and you immediately think nothingness. But that is a huge misunderstanding. So let's clear this up right now. A lot of people hear emptiness and they think it sounds depressing, like some nihilistic void. But the reality is the exact opposite. It's incredibly empowering. Because if nothing is fixed, that means everything is full of potential. It means you have the freedom to change things, to create your own meaning, to take the Lego bricks of your life and build something totally new. So now that we've got the basic principle down, let's apply it. Let's become detectives for a minute and deconstruct 3 things we usually see as solid and fixed in our lives. First on the list, a symbol of ultimate value and permanence, the diamond. We think of it as being precious in and of itself, but is it really? Let's break this down. A diamond's value? It depends almost entirely on social agreement and some very clever marketing. Its very existence depends on the right geological conditions, on miners to dig it up, and on cutters to shape it. Even its beauty is conditional. It only sparkles because of how light passes through it. So if you take away any one of those conditions, its preciousness vanishes. Its value isn't absolute, it's constructed. Okay, let's turn the camera around from the outside world to the inside. Now this one might feel a little strange. What are you actually made of? Is there a fixed, permanent me at the very center of it all? Your body is just a temporary assembly of your parents' genes, the food you ate for lunch, and the air you're breathing this very second. Your personality, it's this dynamic product of your childhood, your culture, your friends, and your brain's unique chemistry. And your thoughts? They're just temporary events popping up based on what's going on right now. So that feeling of I'm a failure, that's not a permanent fact. It's a temporary assembly. And just like a Lego model, it can be taken apart and reassembled. This is the very foundation of what we call a growth mindset. And what about our struggles? Let's take something so many of us face, anxiety. We often feel like it's this solid, terrifying monster that we have to fight. But what if we applied the Lego principle here too? Anxiety is also just an assembly of parts. There's a thought, usually a what if about the future. There's a feeling, like dread. And there are physical sensations, maybe a tight chest or a racing heart. The power in seeing it this way is realizing these are just components. If you can change just one, say you consciously slow down your breathing, the entire structure of that anxiety begins to shift. It's not some invincible monster, it's a temporary state. So after deconstructing diamonds and ourselves and our anxieties, what are we left with? It's not a void. It's a profound sense of freedom. The freedom that comes from understanding that everything is fluid. There's a quote that just gets to the heart of this perfectly. Emptiness isn't non-existence, it's no isolated existence. This means nothing exists in a vacuum, everything's interconnected, part of a shimmering web of causes and conditions that are always interacting. It's not that nothing exists, It's that nothing exists by itself. So why is this so liberating? Because it frees you from being trapped by rigid labels. It helps you accept uncertainty not as a threat, but as just the natural state of things. In a world with so much information flying at us, it lets you see that every viewpoint is a product of specific conditions, not an absolute truth. And maybe most importantly, it gives you permission to change, to grow, and to evolve. The takeaway here is this: you are not a static monument carved in stone for all time. You are a dynamic, flowing river of potential, constantly being shaped by new conditions and always capable of carving a new path. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all, a question for you to take with you. If you are not a fixed, solid identity, but a temporary assembly of parts and potential, what will you choose to become next?